Okay, we're back working on this 2011 Chevy Cruze, and it's got the 1.8 liter engine. We're going to be replacing the valve cover in it here today. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I got here first. Okay, so we got a whole valve cover. It comes with the gasket, and this also has the component that goes to the PCV. And I know that this is probably not fun to replace, and this is why I would recommend getting a valve cover completely. Comes with the gasket and everything. It's already on here. Not only that, but these things do get brittle over time. Have seen that. And the other thing is, this thing's completely clean. We don't have to worry about cleaning up the old one and messing with any of that. So $40, not bad. And you want to make sure that your engine is cool. Okay, before we get started, we're going to go ahead and disconnect the negative. Okay, first thing up, we're going to pop these up. Just pull these. And over here, this will just pull out of here. Okay, now right here, you'll notice this wire still kind of in the way, coming over the top of here. What we're going to do is we're going to disconnect this right here. Okay, and this little yellow lock is going to pull out. And once we get it out far enough, maybe that's it. Let me see. Okay. That will just pull right off of there. Now we're going to slip this just over right here. And you note this will kind of flip over out of the way, give us a little bit more slack without that being in the way. And that's going to be important when we go to placing it and we got RTV. Okay, now you're going to need some E-Torx, and I believe we're going to be using the E10. Okay, and before we can get to that, we're going to have to remove a few more things before we can get to our E-Torx. We're going to slide this. Just slides over and right out of the way. Okay, these are going to be a T40. Okay, now we need to disconnect this connector right here, and now we probably could just pull the whole thing out except for this ground wire that's running from here right down to this bolt. So because of that, we've got to disconnect it. Now there should be a safety lock that you pull back with a little screwdriver. This one's missing, so I'm just going to push down right there, and it should come off. Now sometimes you've got to get a pick tool and lift up on this part right here if it's really stuck, and this one may not come off. Okay, I think I may have just been doing this one wrong. I just took this little pick tool right here and just kind of pulled back. Well, now it got brittle and it broke, but it's still, these things really stick so hard that it's not going anywhere. These 7-pin connectors are really tough, but I thought that it actually was kind of locking on there, but it was brittle right there, and it just broke. I barely even pulled on it, so that's going to happen sometimes, and if it does, I wouldn't worry about it a whole lot. Unless you want to solder on a new connector. But I mean, you see these things really go on there tight, so unless something really tugs it off there, it's going to be alright. So yeah, a lot of times when something breaks, you know, you think you did something wrong. No, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just, it's all the heat, and it's plastic. It's really brittle. All you did was touch it, and that's all it takes. So you see a lot of oil around these, so you definitely tell that those inner seals there are in bad shape. Okay, if you can see, we got oil down in there. It's not a whole lot, but we do have oil down in there. What I'm going to do is just take these spark plugs out, and we'll let that oil just go down into the engine, and it will burn it out of there. We don't want that oil just sitting down in there on those boots. Probably going to have to replace this coil pack before long. And like I said, as far as these go, if you're worried about it, you can get another pigtail for this, but they're just not fun to solder in. Okay, so back here we got this hose, and we got this clip. Now what it'll do is it'll push the little leg up here and lock, but sometimes it'll just push it completely off there, and if it does, just put it back on. Alright, so that's what it's supposed to do right there. And then if you can see, I'm just kind of working it out of there. It's just kind of hitting on the fuel rail a little bit. Okay, so you can see it comes out of there. Okay, it was hitting a little bit on the fuel rail there, but and we got that loose. All right, so we'll just get started on these E10s right up here in the front. The bolts shouldn't come out, but it doesn't mean that they won't. So already got that one. Alright, we're just going to double check, make sure we got them all. Okay, one thing I'd forgot to mention, a good while back I had took this to the car wash and cleaned this. You want to make sure that this is absolutely clean, any loose debris or anything, so when you take this off you're not getting all that trash down into your cylinder head there. And as a final precaution, I've got just an air wand. We're going to blow this off here. Now I know this was leaking pretty good prior to cleaning it off, so this is probably going to be stuck. Now you can get one of these from Harbor Freight. This is usually what I find the best way to break the seal loose. And I had not messed with this prior. I'm pretty sure this is an old gasket. Yep, that's not good. Okay, so don't do that. So I said some of them will fall out. So only one of them fell there, so I know I've got them. And just so you can see, I mean, these don't look just horrible, but they're flattened out. enough to where they're leaking really good. But this the outer part is even worse. You can see how it's just gotten hot, flattened out, and basically it just doesn't seal anything anymore. So I'm going to start just giving this a wipe down. And I can tell that it doesn't look like this had any RTV right here at this little junction, so we're going to put some of that for sure. I'm just kind of cleaning up these areas here. Okay, so now I'm just taking some alcohol and I'm gonna go around the whole thing, but I really want this area right here to be really clean. Okay, so we got it cleaned up pretty good. I just wanted to show you where we're going to be putting the RTV is right here, this junction, and we may just put a very light bead coming up this way, but mainly to get you a dab right there in that junction, and also right there. Now here's a better view of the oil that's setting down in our spark plug wells. We're going to go ahead and get these spark plugs out. I'm just going to let those drain. Now these spark plugs are not looking good, so we're going to need to get these replaced. Usually I just use what I got handy, and I've got, looks like ultra gray here today, so as long as this ain't hardened up on me. So good little blob, and then just a light, getting a light bead going up right there. So that's kind of what that looks like. Alright, so let's go ahead and set this. Try to get this hose. I'm just going to kind of get started in the middle here, maybe. Just kind of starting in the middle and get them all going before we snug any of them down. I'll just start snugging them up a little bit. Okay, now I'm just going to go through starting from the middle and torque these to 70 inch-pounds. If you don't have the inch-pound, you'll just want to snug it up a little bit with your 1/4 inch. It's really not that much torque. See, just by doing it with the 1/4 inch, I just almost have these. So the biggest thing is just to keep you from stripping them. So we're just going to kind of go from the middle and kind of zigzag. And then we'll go around and double check it again. Okay, so like I said, this thing was leaking worse than I even thought. So not only are you going to fix the leaks, but you're going to rule out some of your PCV problems, because that ties into the PCV system there. Okay, let's get this hose back on the back here, and that should just push right on. Okay, that was actually being really stubborn. I took a little my silicone paste and put on there, and then I popped it on, and we're going to lock it. Okay, I don't have the spark plugs yet, but I'm going to just go through the process of putting this back together, and I will get those. We're just going to pop that back down. Go ahead and get our T40s. Not going to worry about torquing these. I'm just going to snug these down a little bit. Does not have to be terribly tight. Now, this probably helps with holding the valve cover a little bit, so you want to snug it down just a little bit. It doesn't have to just be terribly tight. Then we're going to slide our cover piece back in. One second. And I guess I should have got the connector over here first, but I can get it from here. Just so you see, it did get that pushed back in there. Right, we'll just snap this back down. Okay, so we got it all back together, and of course I can't test it out because I got to get me some spark plugs, which I do not have. I wasn't planning on that, but you know, they've probably never been changed, and the car's got 130,000 miles on it, so that's going to have to be done. But at least we got the valve cover took care of, the leaks and the spark plug wells, and then hopefully the PCV problems. That'll help with that as well. And we're going to go ahead and reconnect our negative. Alright, so that's going to do it on replacing this valve cover. I've only spent like a little over an hour here with this. The valve cover, I will leave a link to that. I think it was about $40. But like I said, pretty simple job, and this can get those leaks fixed up. So I hope you found it helpful, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do so. As always, I invite you to subscribe, and thanks for watching.